Hello guys, this is your friend. We are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto walked the line of darkness, Anko and Kurenai in a Forbidden Bond Part 2. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And no start a new fanfic ever since Naruto changed his training was upped. He didn't mind, in fact he was happy. His progress was what most considered genius. Naruto, however, wouldn't take that kind of credit. He gave credit to his sensei and his longtime companion. They never questioned Naruto on his change after that. They didn't care, they trusted him. They also trained him in stuff outside of combat. Hana was happy to finally have something to train Naruto in. His newly heightened senses, it was perfect for her. There were basic manners and politics taught by Kurenai. To his misery there was human anatomy by Anko and basic sealing. Yugo taught Naruto about a lot of the village's laws. Ever since he learned genjutsu his pranks have increased. Naruto's relationship with his sensei has also been amazing. They kept it mostly a secret from the general populace to avoid the hate. Kiba kept silent so many wouldn't know that he was dating Hana. They would keep each other company in public, though he kept his hands on. He also kept his blindfold on to help him with his sensing. He had improved greatly without a proper teacher. The Hokage was aware of his new changes and abilities. At first he nearly had a heart attack, much to the fox's delight. Naruto made him promise to keep it a secret until he was ready to reveal it. However, neither the Hokage nor his senseis knew of the fear collecting. They also didn't that he was receiving extra training from the fox. They were some of the few people he didn't want fear from. When he wasn't with the mistresses, or ice queens, as the male populace named them, he kept busy. He often trained with Team 9, 10-10 and Lee were very fond of Naruto. The Hyuga was another story. Neji seemed to think Naruto was a weakling. He tried to challenge Naruto to a fight, often insulting him. Naruto would just ignore him and act as if the Hyuga was beneath him. He often thanked his sensei for teaching him to control his emotions. Even when he slept he was busy. He would often spend this time with Kyuubi. The fox had taught Naruto a lot of genjutsu. Even taught him a bit of kenjutsu. When he awoke he instantly started training in everything. I love clones. The fox taught Naruto more about his new bloodline. The more fear he gathered the more powerful both would become. His illusions would become stronger and more realistic to the victim, and he would also become stronger and faster. If he looked someone in the eyes he could find their worst fears. However, he could only use fox genjutsu with Kyuubi's chakra. When he gathered enough he could use his skill without limit. When he wasn't training himself he trained the Konohamaru Corps. He hadn't taught them any jutsu. He did help increase their speed, stamina and stealth. They were now physically better than Sakura. They had collected a lot of fear but nowhere near enough. He needed to gather true despair. Training wasn't all he did. When with his Heims he would relax, often giving them massages or taking them on dates. There was however a major downer in his happiness. Naruto Baka, screamed Sakura, pay attention, his team. And he used that title loosely. They were no team of his. If any, his would be Team 9 minus Neji. Naruto had to deal with his team's insults and constant ridicule. His sensei would ignore it in him. He has also neglected to teach Naruto anything, often favoring the Uchiha. Sakura just sat on the sidelines doing nothing but praising Sasuke and ridiculing Naruto. Not that he showed much. He held everything back during their team bonding, exercise and training. He would bide his time. To show them what I can really do. He couldn't wait. He even continued his sensor training, not even putting a genjutsu over the blindfold.
Alright, what mission do you want today? Asked their leader. We have babysitting, gardening, catching too.
Please don't say that cat's name, begged Naruto. Can't we get a real mission, not these chores?
Naruto, you are still fresh genin. Ranted Iruka. Taking a higher mission will require months of experience, and hey, are you listening? Old man, shouted Naruto, if I don't get a real mission I'll teach your paper to multiply. The Hokage paled at the threat. He was sure Naruto could and would do it. Naruto, spoke an uncaring Kakashi, you shouldn't threaten your superiors. Especially one adobe like you couldn't go through with. Spoke the arrogant Uchiha. Hokage-sama, spoke Naruto in a lower tone, I've already taught the paper shadow clone jutsu. Looking at his desk, everyone noticed that the paper had multiplied. It was so much that the stacks couldn't keep balance. They soon fell over and he couldn't tell which he finished and which he still had to do. Uruka, get them ANS rank mission, ordered the village leader, get it now or else, he was cut off. Hokage-sama, shouted the Chunin in disbelief, they are genin. Right, the old leader agreed, I lost my head for a second, I have AC ranked. He stated, send in the bridge builder. At his order an old man walked in. He seemed to be drunk and continued to drink sake. He eyed the genin.
These are the snot-nosed brats who are supposed to watch me, he asked. They look like they'll wet themselves and run at the first sign of danger. He eyed them closely, especially the short, blonde one. Everyone was surprised when they didn't have to restrain Naruto. He simply looked at the client and stated, we are shinobi, we are meant to be deceiving. He used his best Anko smile. But if you want sinister, then just say so. The minute he saw Naruto's smile, he nearly wet himself. Many of the occupants felt the same way. And no thanks, he readjusted himself. I'm the super bridge builder Tazuna. You are to protect me with your lives. Don't worry Tazuna-san, stated Kakashi. I'm a Junin and Sasuke here is my best student. We can handle anything. Naruto and the Hokage frowned at the statement. It was the sign of a teacher playing favorites. I'll have to have a talk with Kakashi. Alright, Team 7 Inches called the Hokage. You leave for your mission in an hour, so go prepare. They left. Wait Naruto, he called. The papers are still multiplying. It was too late, Naruto was already gone. Uruka, help, the aged leader begged. Uruka looked as the number papers grew and grew by the second. It was truly maddening. He didn't want a part in it. I wonder how Anko is doing. With that thought he decided to go for a walk, a long walk. It had only taken Naruto 10 minutes to prepare for his mission. He had already prepared a scroll of all he needed. An hour later they were in front of the gate. Well, it looks like the Dobi forgot to pack, chided Sasuke. Baka, now we have to wait for you to go pack, added the Uchiha's pet. Actually I have everything sealed away, stated Naruto, showing the scroll, keeps me from carrying a bulky bag everywhere. He pointed to their bags. They couldn't think of a comeback for his statement. Naruto, that's a bit advanced for a genin, stated Kakashi. Where did you? Who are you? Asked Naruto. What do you mean? Asked Kakashi. You're on time, spoke Sakura in disbelief. Just head out. He ordered on time once and they think I'm a stranger. The trip was mostly uneventful. The only thing interesting was that Naruto was silent. Hey Baka, why are you so quiet? Asked Sakura. If you're thinking, then don't, you'll only hurt yourself. He was about to respond when he saw a puddle. Kurenai-chan would be so insulted if she saw that, he stated. What are you talking about, Baka? Saw what? Asked Sakura louder than needed. And who is Kurenai? Everyone just ignored her. As they passed the puddle, two mist shinobi jumped out. The duo made their way toward Kakashi, surrounding him with their shuriken chained claw gauntlet. With a mighty pull they severed the Junin to pieces. Sakura saw this and started screaming. One down, spoke the first. More to go, finished the second. They ran for Tazuna, but Naruto jumped in way to protect the client. The closest struck with his claws into Naruto. With a mighty tug he disemboweled the blonde. The lifeless body collapsed as his innards fell to the ground. They made their way toward Tazuna, only to be close-lined by Kakashi. The Demon Brothers, two Chunin-ranked mist ninja. With great speed he restrained both of them out and tied them up. Sensei, cried Sakura, you're alive? She looked toward the body, only to see logs. You used replacement, she stated. Yes, but your friend died. stated Tazuna, pointing to the remains on Naruto. Who cares about that Dobi? Asked Sasuke. He only slowed me down. Yeah, he only got in between me and Sasuke-kun, stated Sakura. He's better off dead. How can you allow them to speak like that of their teammate? Asked Tazuna. He died to protect me. He wasn't even an adequate shinobi, stated the sensei. He won't be missed. It's nice to see what you think of me, stated Naruto's walking from behind a tree. My team and sensei. Dobi, how are you alive? Howled Sasuke. We saw you get gutted. Naruto said nothing. He just glared at them as walked toward his team. Good thing he had control, or he might have sent them into a nightmare. Naruto baka, you answer Sasuke-kun now, ordered Sakura, or else. Or else what, Haruno? He asked with such venom. You aren't even a threat to an academy student. This caught everyone, minus Tazuna, by surprise. Naruto never bad-mouthed Sakura, even as he started acting strange. In a moment of rage, Sakura charged Naruto with a raised fist. Naruto, seeing her attack, simply backslapped her. The blow caught her across the face and knocked her a few feet across the ground. She sat on the ground in disbelief. She stared up at Naruto, and even though she couldn't see his eyes, she could feel them. Enough is enough, Sakura, he stated. I won't allow you to continue using me as a punching bag. The others were in disbelief as well. Naruto had struck Sakura. Naruto, that was uncalled for, stated Kakashi. Apologize now or I will have your license revoked. If you do, then you will have Haruno punished, stated Naruto. She attacked me on a mission, not including all of the other times she struck me. He drew a kunai. In fact, I could execute her right here and now without any repercussion. Why you wouldn't do that to me, would you, Naruto-kun? She asked. That seemed to only make him angrier. Wait, I'll go on a date with. She offered. He didn't even seem to think it over. Sensei, make him stop. She begged, running behind their teacher, crying like a child. That is enough, Naruto, stated Kakashi. Stand down or I will have your license revoked for abandoning the client. This was met with a chuckle from Naruto. I never abandoned the client, he stated. Tazuna, come on out. At his call, another Tazuna appeared from behind one of the trees. It seemed the bridge builder was ready to make a run for it. You sure everything is safe? He asked, gaining a nod from Naruto. Good, glad that. I could have your license revoked for abandoning the client and your students, stated Naruto, backing Kakashi into a corner. How are there two of the client, Dobi? Asked the Uchiha as the Tazuna closest began to fade away. I placed a genjutsu on the area and hide the real Tazuna, he stated. I needed to know who they were after. Kid had me terrified the whole time, he stated. I'm not going to kill you, Haruno, so stop crying, he ordered. I need you alive so I can continue the mission. Actually, Naruto, started Kakashi, hoping to get some revenge. Since these ninja are after Tazuna, as you revealed, we will have to cancel it. It's too dangerous. Nice work, Baka, shouted Haruno after regaining herself. Now Sasuke-kun won't have a perfect record. No mission means I don't need you, Haruno. That sent her back to begging and crying. Please, begged the bridge builder. Wave needs your help, and he went on trying to guilt-trip the team. Don't worry, Tazuna-san, stated Naruto. We're going to complete the mission. That is my decision, Naruto, stated Kakashi. Not yours. This is a C rank turned A rank. If you don't want people to know your actions, we will complete the mission, stated Naruto. Are you threatening me, Genin? He asked, his rage at the boiling point. That is a grave offense? No, I'm blackmailing you like a shinobi, he stated. What was your motto again? We will continue the mission. Kakashi strained out. Dobi, where did you learn those illusions? Asked the Uchiha. Naruto made no attempt to answer. I demand you tell me. Naruto just continued walking. Sasuke, enraged at being ignored by the Dobi, drew a kunai and tried to attack him. The key word is tried. Somehow he was on the ground with the kunai gone. It was in Naruto's hand, which he had pointed at Sasuke's eye. Are you attacking me as well, Uchiha? Naruto asked, knowing the question. Maybe instead of killing you I'll just pluck an eye out. Collecting fear is becoming addicting, he thought. Enough, Naruto, shouted Kakashi. Let's just continue the mission. One sec, the blonde, I need to collect my trophies. We'll tell you nothing, one brother stated. I don't need either of you, Naruto stated. Raising his blindfold, he stared the brothers in the eye. They looked back. A second later they were asleep. Pulling out a scroll, he sealed the mist nin claws inside. Kid, what did you just do? Asked Tazuna. I knocked them out, stated Naruto, holding the scroll. My girlfriend will love these weapons. Like a baka, like, she never finished. I will end you, he simply stated, cutting her off, and she believed him. The rest of the trip went without incident but was still agonizing. The Uchiha would demand his techniques while Haruno would cheer him on. I sense a present, thought Naruto there. Drawing a kunai, he threw it toward where he felt the signal. This put everyone on guard. He relished in their fear. When he went to investigate, he saw a white rabbit. This caused Sakura to start yelling again, that color is out of season. Though Kakashi. What are you doing? Asked Tazuna. Are you going to give me a heart attack? I'm going to cook this rabbit up, Naruto stated. Rabbit stew is amazing, oh, and you all might want to dodge. At his words, a large cleaver-like sword came hurtling through the forest. The genin ducked to the ground while Kakashi brought Tazuna down. The cleaver impaled itself into a tree. On top of the handle was the enemy. It was another Kiri shinobi. This guy is giving off some powerful chakra. Better drop my weights. Zabuza Momochi, stated Kakashi, demon of the hidden mist. Kakashi Hatake, the man who copied 1,000 jutsus. No wonder the demon brothers lost. Zabuza returned. Hand over the bridge builder. The nin ordered, then added, and the rabbit. This rabbit is going into my stew, stated Naruto. Get your own. Taking a minute to think, you can have the Haruno, he said. It's a fair trade, a harmless creature for a useless creature. I think I'll stick with the rabbit. Enough, stated Kakashi, we won't be handing over the bridge builder. I see, he laughed. Well, let's begin. Jumping away, he landed in front of a lake. Hidden mist jutsu, as its name said, mist began to fill the area. Everyone, behind me, ordered Kakashi. Zabuza is a member of the 7 Swordsmen and a master of the silent killing technique. He raised his headband and uncovered his eye. I'll need this. A Sharingan? How does Sensei have that? Asked Sasuke. Well, at least he can't copy my genjutsu, thought Naruto. 8 point, came said master voice. Larynx, spine, lungs, liver, jugular, subclavian artery, kidney, heart. He named. Which will I go for? As the mist became thicker, the fear began to set in. It was getting to all the genin minus Naruto. One of his teachers, Anko, thought he should be ready for the killer intent of battle. That's it, Zabuza, make them nice and afraid. The Uchiha is about to slice himself. Naruto then felt a chakra signature appear behind him. Using the speed from all of his training, he turned toward the signatures. He impaled Zabuza with a kunai. However, instead of blood he got water. The whole body just fell apart in a puddle. Water clone, huh? That kid has some skill, complimented Zabuza. Your fight is with me, stated Kakashi. Cannon fight, but with water clone holding Kakashi. Sorry, but does anyone care? Run, shouted Kakashi. Take Tazuna and get out of here. This fight was over when I was caught. And where would we go? Asked Naruto calmly. This guy would just find us and cut us down. As he spoke, the area started filling with water clones. You should just leave the bridge builder, stated Zabuza. I have no time for kids playing ninja. This coming from a man pretending to be a demon, taunted Naruto, enraging Zabuza. Let me give you a taste of your own medicine. Handing the rabbit to Tazuna, he stepped forward onto the water. My own medicine? Zabuza asked before laughing. What can a kid like you do? You've probably never even spilled blood. Do you think you're the only one who messes with the enemy's senses? He asked, the only one who induces fear. He allowed his weights to drop so he could adjust. Reaching into his pocket, he pulled out a scroll and unsealed a sword. The handle was average, but the rest was anything but. The blade was crimson red. The guard was actually a fox head holding the blade between its teeth. "Well, that's an impressive sword," Zabuza complimented, "but nothing out of the ordinary." "Really?" asked Naruto. "Something sure smells good." Realization hit everyone. The area was lightly filled with a sweet aroma. Zabuza tried to cover his bandaged nose, but the smell got through. "No use, Zabuza," stated Naruto to an upside-down Zabuza. "Welcome to the inverted world." "How is this kid upside down?" He looked around before realizing he was the one upside down. "How did I get upside down?" "This is the power of my invert," he stated. "I reverse one's sense of direction." He looked and saw as everyone else was affected before charging. "I don't own bleach." "That is interesting," Zabuza stated, "but not original." Zabuza turned around to face Naruto. He swung the blade toward the blonde only for Naruto to disappear. A gash appeared on his arm a second later. Naruto appeared upside down to his left where he swung. Naruto again vanished and a scar appeared on Zabuza's back. This continued for a few moments as his team watched in disbelief. "How is that Dobi doing something I can't do?" asked the so-called Avenger. "I deserve that power, not him." As Naruto continued to dance around Zabuza, he felt something off. There was no fear coming from Zabuza. He needed to end the fight. Tightening his grip, he charged forward and struck at Zabuza. He brought his blade into range, he struck, he missed. Zabuza had backstepped. The rogue swordsman then swung his sword at Naruto. As the sword came in contact with Naruto, the blonde scattered in an explosion of black rose petals. They reformed into Naruto a large distance away. As the blonde stood there, he covered his chest. He had been able to avoid a fatal blow, but not without some damage. "You're good, kid, but as I said, unoriginal," complimented Zabuza. "You only distort the sense of sight. It's been done." He stated, "I however am a master of the silent killing technique. I can take you out with sound alone and you couldn't hide your footsteps." Realization hit. He needed a new plan. He dropped the invert technique and began to think. "Time to put my kenjutsu to the test," he thought. "Let's go, Zabuza." Taking the stance Yugo had him train in, he prepared. "Let's see if a member of the Seven Swordsmen is more than a title. This kid is still willing to fight." Zabuza was impressed. It'll be nice to cut down another swordsman." Zabuza took a swing at Naruto, who blocked. The blow was very heavy for the blonde, but he managed. Giving a heave, he barely pushed Zabuza's sword back, giving a clear view of the older swordsman's stomach. Taking the open shot, he jabbed his sword towards Zabuza. The demon swordsman merely sidestepped. He then swung and swatted the blonde a few feet away with the side of his massive sword. Naruto stood. He needed to stop Zabuza, and fast. Zabuza made the move. Leaping forward, he attempted a downward slash. Naruto quickly jumped back, but Zabuza was persistent. He tried to defend, but the blows were too heavy and getting heavier. Zabuza delivered a kick that sent the blonde tumbling back. While Naruto was off balance, he went in for the kills. He cleaved Naruto in half. Naruto dispersed into black rose petals and let them scatter far and wide. While they held a distraction, he reformed overhead. Coming down, he intended to impale Zabuza through the head. The demon of the mist turned and with a massive swing cleaved through Naruto, only to go up in smoke. Crushing snake constriction Naruto activated. "Thank you, Anko." Zabuza couldn't move. He was being held by a snake. It began to squeeze him. More genjutsu pulsing his chakra, it dispelled. Naruto had already reached him. Dance of the Crescent Moon. Using his clones, he split into 3 different Narutos. The first 2 charged from either side while the third disappeared. As the first 2 came in range, they each struck. Zabuza back-paced and gutted the first, which had tried to attack head-on. Only for him to go up in smoke, one down. Raising his sword, he blocked the second strike. With another mighty swing, he decapitated him. only for them to go up in smoke as well. Whereas he. On cue, the final Naruto came from above. He delivered a powerful cut towards Zabuza's torso. Before he could strike again, he too was cut down. As he looked around, he saw no trace of Naruto. He looked toward the kids' team and smirked. "It seems he ditched you," mocked Zabuza, holding his wound. "Too bad. Well, who's next?" The other two grew terrified. Before he could move toward them, he was stopped. Looking toward his feet, he saw vines holding him. String bean binding illusion. The vine continued to grow. They wrapped around Zabuza, raising him into the air. They tightened themselves to restrict the victim's movement. "Actually, I was just setting this up," stated Naruto, appearing from inside a giant bean pod. "What are you afraid of?" he asked as he began removing his blindfold. Before he could do so completely, Zabuza started dissolving into water. "A water clone, when did he?" "You were good," he spoke behind Naruto, "but not good enough." Raising his sword, he slashed at Naruto. The wound was a large gash across the blonde's chest. Thanks to his high pain tolerance, he could barely stand it. "Okay, new plan." Standing to full height, he summoned a clone. With an unspoken order, the clone transformed into a windmill shuriken. "A shuriken," he said, "impressive henge, but I'm tired of genjutsu." He then took a ready stance. "Besides, you'll never touch me with it." Naruto did his best to hide his smirk. The same mistake Mihaims made. Taking aim, he threw the shuriken towards Zabuza. As it grew closer, he casually leaned to the side. As the shuriken passed him, it slightly cut his cheek. That cut was enough. "That shuriken is real," he thought, looking toward the direction it was heading. "He wasn't aiming for me. He was aiming for the water clone." The real target was hit. The water clone was dispelled and Kakashi was free. "I knew I couldn't beat you on my own, so I freed someone who could," stated an exhausted Naruto. "Now you two play nice," he stated before moving toward land. The two Junin squared off. They began circling each other's. "Well, Zabuza," stated Kakashi, "let's see if you've got enough in you to continue." They began weaving their hand signs. "Water style, water dragon jutsu," they shouted simultaneously. From the water rose two giant water snakes. They towered above all present. Their attacks collided. It seemed that they were evenly matched. Kakashi will need an edge to win this. They began weaving again. "Now, hey, no brows," he called, drawing Zabuza's attention. "Ha ha, you looked." Taking a serious demeanor, he called. Invert. Zabuza went wide-eyed. Turning his body around, he aimed the jutsu behind him. Water style. Giant vortex jutsu at nothing. Water style. Giant vortex jutsu. Turning to the sound, he saw Kakashi wasn't behind him. He was in fact to his side, too close for Zabuza to defend or dodge. He took the hit head on. The force behind the jutsu was too much. It carried the Rouge Nin all the way to land, knocking him into a tree. Demonic illusion. Tree binding death. The tree seemed come alive as it wrapped around Zabuza. From the tree emerged Naruto as if he were a part of it. He loomed over Zabuza, kunai in hand. "Surrender, Zabuza," Naruto ordered. "You've lost." Zabuza struggled but didn't have the necessary energy. The demon of the mist gave a glare worthy of his title at the blonde. He stiffened as two senbon needles impaled his neck, then the fallen nin went limp. Looking toward the one whom threw the needle, he saw a masked figure. A hunter nin he remembered from his studies. The figure stood beside his team, motioning for him to bring Zabuza forward. He did so. "Thank you for distracting him," the hunter nin stated. "I've been tracking him for a while." "No problem," replied Naruto calmly but on guard. "You were here for a while. Why not aid us?" The figure stayed silent. "I see." Naruto, "Stop harassing the hunter nin," ordered Kakashi. "Hand Zabuza over." "Bu, that is an order, genin." "Do what you're told, Baka," shrieked Sakura from behind their sensei. "All right," stated Naruto. "Don't blame me when this fake hunter nin kills us." "Fake?" they asked as one grabbing Zabuza. The fake hunter nin disappeared in a shunshin, appearing behind Tazuna. The hunter nin then grabbed the rabbit and left again. "No, my rabbit stew," wailed Naruto. "What happened?" asked Tazuna. "I was ordered to let the enemy live and ended up losing my chance at rabbit stew," Naruto stated. "By the way, Kakashi, good night in 3, 2, 1. At the end their sensei collapsed. "What did you do to sensei?" asked Sakura. "Fix him now or they'll never find your body," he stated, silencing her. "Now Tazuna, is your house nearby?" "Dobi, I demand you." He was silenced as well. "Sleep." The Uchiha was out like a light. He put Haruno under as well. No real reason behind it. He just wanted her out. Could you blame him? 20 minutes later they were at Tazuna's house. They had sat Kakashi down in a room to rest. It turned out he just had a mild case of chakra exhaustion. The next morning Naruto sensed a familiar chakra signature. Running to the door he saw one of the most beautiful faces ever. "Helmihime," he greeted in joy, leaning in to kiss her. "Foxy-kun," greeted Anko. "How are you doing? Better now that you're here, Habiheim," he answered, not to sound rude, but why did the old man send you? "I saved him from some paperwork." She eyed him. "You wouldn't have anything to do with that, would you now, Naruto-chan?" Naruto wouldn't meet her gaze. When he continued to avoid eye contact, she laughed. She walked in the room. Looking around, she saw the family she would help in guarding. "Naruto-san?" asked Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter. "Who is this?" "This is Anko-chan," he introduced. "Anko, this is Tsunami, Tazuna the bridge builder's daughter." "Nice to meet you, Tsunami," Anko greeted. "Where is the Cyclops, the emo, and the pink howler monkey?" "Upstairs," she answered, giggling. When she entered the room she saw Kakashi was asleep. The Uchiha was in a corner brooding and Haruno was pestering him for a date. "Hey Cyclops," Anko shouted, waking Kakashi. "Who whooped your butt?" "What are you doing here, Anko?" asked Kakashi. "I haven't sent for any backup." "I did," stated Naruto, "right after we were attacked by the demon brothers." "We don't need help, Dobi," stated Sasuke. "I could have handled this mission with it. We ran into a rogue ninja called Zabuza," Sakura answered. "Sensei got caught and Sasuke-kun was going to save me, but the baka got in the way and tried to show Sasuke-kun up and..." She turned a glare to Naruto. "Then did something to him and Kakashi-sensei and me. So basically he saved you and now you're whining because it wasn't the Uchiha," Anko stated. She turned to Naruto. "Tell me what really happened." Naruto lowered the blindfold to reveal one of his eyes. On contact he activated a jutsu meant for briefing. "Flashback jutsu, that's right, I went there." As the scenes replayed inside Anko's mind, she felt pride. Naruto had used the very skills that she and her friends taught him with great skill. He then admitted that he needed help and freed Kakashi. "Nothing is wrong with your sensei," stated Anko. "He just has chakra exhaustion from over-using that eye of his." "What did you do to me, Dobi?" the Sasuke asked. "I put you under a simple genjutsu to knock you out," the blonde answered. "It was actually pretty easy." The answer enraged the Uchiha. "How could the Dobi put me in a genjutsu? I'm an Uchiha, the elite. It must be that sword, it has to be. No way that the Dobi is that strong on his own." "Naruto, you have been acting brash this whole mission," stated Kakashi. "Learn to respect your team or I'll have you punished." "Yeah, baka," shouted Sakura. "You won't be as good as Sasuke-kun is." "I don't know why I'm surprised, it's not like I just saved their lives." Naruto turned to the door to leave. "Where are you going, Dobi?" Naruto continued. "I asked you a question, Dobi, don't ignore your betters." "Kakashi," shouted Anko. "What do you think you're doing?" She gave a glare that froze them. "How can you have such a dysfunctional team?" "I tried to get them to work together, but some people," he glared at Naruto, "don't understand the value of teamwork." "That is a lie and a half. I've seen your form of teamwork," she stated. "I've known about your negligence for a while now." She wasn't finished. "Because of that you have a group of unprepared genin on a dangerous mission." "Anko, I believe I can effectively train my genin," stated Kakashi into his book. They've done well so far. Only thanks to Naruto, the one you neglected, she retorted. If it weren't for him you'd all be dead. Why do you care so much about the baka? Sakura asked. It's like you're his girlfriend or something. I am, stated Anko. What? Shouted everyone in shock. You're dating Naruto? Naruto has a girlfriend. Come on Naru-chan, called Anko. You can give me a full body massage. Wait Dobi, Sasuke called. I demand you give me that sword and the claws from the Demon Brothers. He held his hand out. Someone like me could use them much better than you. Hell no, stated Naruto, rage building. This sword is mine and the claws are for my other girlfriend. Other girlfriend? They asked. You're nothing but a pervert, screeched Sakura. That's probably my fault, admitted Anko, but it wasn't me alone. Women, I demand you take his weapons and give them to me, ordered Sasuke. I deserve them more than an abandoned nobody. Naruto has had enough. He was used to insults, but doing so to his family was his breaking point. He began reaching for his blindfold. Sasuke Uchiha, he growled, what you're afraid of? Naruto, shouted Anko, I think you should go for a walk. The blonde took a few deep breaths before calming. This is going to be a long mission. Okay, team, time for some training, called Kakashi. You will be learning something special today. Woods. Sensei, you can't teach us in that condition, called Sakura. And why do we need to train? Zabuza is dead, right? Actually I can and no he's not, he replied. Hunter Nin are supposed to destroy the bodies on the spot. That can only mean he's allied to Zabuza. I did say he was a fake, stated Naruto. What will we be learning it? Asked Sasuke, hoping for a powerful jutsu. You will be learning to climb a tree without hands. How is that possible? Asked Sakura in amazement. Anko had a different feeling, annoyance at her comrade. You're just now teaching you're the team tree climbing? She asked, on an A-rank mission. She sighed. Let's go Naru-chan, called Anko. I was given some stuff from the others for you on this mission. She gained her usual grin. We don't want you going soft in training without us. Anko, I'm afraid that Naruto must train like everyone else, stated Kakashi. He needs the chakra control the most. I already know it, Naruto stated. I've mastered up to Junin level chakra control. There is no way you know that much, stated Sakura until she saw he wasn't listening. Hey, don't ignore me. Why are you wasting your time on a dobi like him? Asked Sasuke. You should be training me, not that. He was cut off by a kunai to the neck. I will choose who is worthy of my training, stated Anko as her killer intent flowed out. Let's go Naru-chan. Anko is still a slave driver, he thought. Other parts of Woods. She had increased his weights and then gave him orders to start training immediately. He was happy to be learning new techniques, but he had limits. Running and dodging kunai while trying to learn new sword katas on top of water brings you to them fast. Why is the world spinning? Did I say you could take a break, Naru-chan? She said in a false sweet voice. Yes, he tried. Fine, let's break something, she grinned. I'm going for your legs. He was back to training. Anko looked at the exhausted Naruto and she was nothing but proud. He may not have mastered everything, but he was doing well. He's not even using his clones. He didn't want to be dependent on them. That is enough for now, Naruto, she called. No sooner had she said that he collapsed. Dinner should be ready. He seemed to find a bit of energy in her statement. When they arrived, they were greeted by the family. It seemed dinner was ready. Naruto hastily dug into his food. His peace didn't last. Dobi, called the Uchiha. What did she teach you? None of your business, Teme, Naruto stated. Naruto baka you answer, Sasuke-kun, shouted Sakura. Naruto did, stated Anko. You just don't like the answer. Naruto, it would be helpful to know what learned, stated Kakashi, looking from his book. We could use it to our advantage. You mean give it to Sasuke to copy, stated Naruto. I won't give him my hard-earned skills. Why do you all train so hard? Asked a new person. It was Inari, Tsunami's son. You're all just going to die. No one can beat Gato. You should all just go back to your comfy homes. Kid, you shouldn't speak on things you know nothing about, stated Anko as Naruto tensed. Some people don't have the luxuries you think they do. You all think you can just come here and be heroes? Heroes don't exist. Inari shouted, none of you know suffering, so go back to your peaceful homes. Suffering? Asked Naruto in an icy tone. You don't know suffering. You live here with a family that loves you. He raised his head, glared at Inari. You have a food in your stomach and a warm place to sleep. Naruto may. Anko couldn't finish. The killer intent coming off of him is maddening. Are you hated for something you couldn't control? Have you beaten so badly and so often that you don't notice most pain? Do you go home every day to absolutely nothing? He stood. Maybe I should show you some of my pain. He began to raise his blindfold, but a hand stopped him. Anko then hugged him from behind and whispered something in his ear. As she continued, he began to calm himself. He turned to everyone present and stated, I'm going to go blow off some steam. He then shunshined away. Anko turned to look at the crying Inari. The massive killer intent had been too much for him to handle. Stop whining, you deserved it, she said. Just because you have it bad doesn't mean you have it the worst. That baka probably made that all up, right, Sasuke-kun? Spoke Sakura. Was his response. You have no idea what Naruto has been through, hissed Anko. The trial he's endured just for living. She whispered, all for something he had no control over. Was it really that bad? Tsunami asked. No, Anko answered. What he said was the sugar-coated version. Woods. The next morning, Naruto was lying in a field. He had done a lot of damage to the area. No tree was spared in his rage. Now he was enjoying some well-deserved rest. He then felt a chakra signature enter the field. It wasn't a member of Team 7, his Haim, Tazuna, or even one of his family members. It was, however, very familiar. The signature grew closer. Excuse me, the voice called, you'll catch a cold if you sleep out here. Don't worry, Naruto reassured. I have, inside, work on my immune system. He let out a quiet chuckle at his own joke. So what is a pretty lady like you doing out here all alone? You have a blindfold on, how do you know I'm alone? A thought then occurred. What makes you think I'm pretty? I know, when someone's around the same way I know you're pretty, Naruto answered vaguely. He then lowered his blindfold and looked Haku in the eye. I was right, pretty. Their eyes met. As they looked deeper, they saw each other's pain. Those eyes are just like mine, they thought as one. I'm Naruto, by the way. You are, Haku. I'm picking herbs for my sick friend, Haku answered. Should I be worried that I'm alone? No, he hastily answered. My senseis would kill me if they thought I thought something perverted. He saw her work. Do you want any help? Sure, Haku answered. Naruto sat down beside Haku and began picking herbs. Haku wondered how Naruto saw which to pick but didn't ask. Naruto-san, are you a ninja, right? Asked Haku, gaining a nod. Are you strong? Yes, Naruto responded with pride, but I need to get stronger. Do you have anyone precious to you? Yes, Naruto answered with no hesitation. They are very few. He thought of each one. But I'd happily lay down my life for them. Then you will be truly strong, Haku stated. I think I have enough herbs. Thank you for your help. They stood and turned to leave. Hunter-san, Naruto called, stopping Haku. When I said I'd lay down my life for them, I meant it, he continued. But I'd make sure whoever hurt them suffered as well. Neither turned face the other. They began walking in their separate directions. Although neither knew of the smile on the other's face. Naruto-san, where have you been? Asked Tsunami. The others have been worried. All of them are just Anko. She didn't answer, so he did. I had a strange day. I was told to give you something when you returned. Spoke Tsunami. It's a gift from Anko-san. He noticed she had a frying pan in her hand. No, he begged. Please don't. I'm sorry, but she took aim, dodge. For a civilian, she had good aim. Bridge. Naruto had guard duty. He didn't mind. It was part of the mission after all. He was even able to collect a little fear from the nervous workers. He just wished they would stop quitting. Tazuna called a random worker. I just can't keep working on the bridge, he said. I'm sorry. Hey, Naruto called to the man. What do you think you're doing? I'm going home. He stated, so you're going to give up too? It wasn't a question. He turned to the remaining workers, are you all just going to give up? A worker who was about to quit stepped forward. What choice do we have? He asked, some of us have a family to provide for. We can't do that if we're dead. Naruto unfolded his blindfold. Kyuubi is going to hate me for this. He needed to help them. This bridge needed them. He looked into their minds for the cause of the fear. Builders of the bridge, I know what you all are afraid, he stated as he faded away. Gato appeared out from nowhere and stood with all of his arrogance. The builders were all afraid. If Gato was here, then that meant that he was going to stop them. They were going to die. What happened next shocked them all. Naruto reappeared behind Gato and sliced away at him. In one swing he removed the tyrant's head. As the body fell to the ground, it faded away. And I can help you rid yourselves of it, he stated, if you are still willing to work for the future of Wave. Naruto stood in silence. He waited for them to make their decision. Finally, one of the bridge builders stepped forward. We are done, he stated as they looked on in confusion. You are all willing to defy Gato? He elaborated. You are willing to continue for Wave? He shouted. You all have already casted out your fears. The builders looked toward one another. They were willing to defy Gato. For their family and for their future they were willing. They cheered as they returned to their jobs. There was a new vigor in each of their movements. That was a great motivator, kid, spoke Tazuna. I just hope it was enough. Wait, what do you mean? Even with this new energy we already lost a lot of workers. I have that covered, Naruto stated, forming a cross with his hands. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Tazuna was speechless from what he saw. For every one worker he lost there were 3 Narutos, maybe more. Just tell us what we need to do. Naruto was happy. Kyuubi had worked him into the ground for giving hope instead of fear. Now Naruto was allowed a night of peace. Even as he slept he had felt the others leave. It was a lesson his hymns taught him. Always be prepared and on guard. That was how he knew of the 2 extra signatures that entered the house. Let go of my mom, cried Inari, and that was how he was aware they were enemies. He was already downstairs. He had concealed himself and observed. One of 2 swordsman thugs were holding onto a bound Tsunami. The second was making his way toward Inari, drawing his sword. Stop, Tsunami cried. If you kill him, then I swear I'll bite my tongue. Even these thugs knew that she wasn't bluffing. Fine, the first said, you got lucky, kid. The one closest to Inari kicked him down. Much to everyone's surprise, he stood back up. Naruto decided it was time to make himself known. You did good, Inari, he spoke, your dad would be proud. It looks like one of the ninja was left behind, one spoke. It seems so, Naruto returned calmly. What will you do now? Do? He asked. Nothing. We have all the cards? He motioned to Tsunami. We are leaving and you will stay? Or we start cutting this one, the other threatened, putting his sword to Tsunami. Cut who? Naruto asked. The thugs looked to Tsunami. To their surprise she merely faded away. They looked and saw that she was next to Naruto. She was no longer bound and was holding Inari tightly. They drew their swords and took a menacing step forward. Wait, Tsunami cried. You want money, right? If I give it to you, will you leave? The 2 thugs looked at each other. They shared a cruel smile and looked to Tsunami and said, sure. Naruto knew it was a lie. It was very obvious. He was also sure that Tsunami could tell it was a lie as well. He decided to see what she had planned. In that scroll to your side. She pointed. It has everything we have. It's a ninja tool and all you have to do is open it. The 2 snatched it up and opened it. Inside was a letter. They read the letter out loud for all to hear. Dear Naruto-kun, we are at the bridge. P.S. Dodge. As they read the last part, a violent stream of kunai shot out. Many of them embedded themselves inside the thugs. They fell down dead. "Mom, how did you know that would work?" asked Inari. "That scroll was from Anko, wasn't it?" Naruto asked. "She added a lot more kunai than usual this time." "Anko-san wanted me to give it to you," Tsunami admitted. "She told me how it worked so I wouldn't be hurt." Were you really going to give it to me? That was something he needed to know. "They're waiting for you at the bridge," she said, not answering his question. Bridge. As Naruto entered the scene, he noticed the air was laced with chakra because of the mist. It was much more potent with the extra water. This would make it difficult for Naruto to use his sensor skills that he relied on. He dropped his blindfold so that he could see. He didn't like it. His eyes hindered his sensor skills. He headed toward the closest signatures. They were to the side and by far the weakest. "Hello, Tazuna," he greeted, nearly scaring Tazuna and Sakura to death. "Kid, are you trying to give me a heart attack?" he asked. "Not yet," Naruto spoke, "but I'm so close, Baka," Sakura started but never finished. "Paralysis jutsu." "What?" Naruto asked. "Don't look at me like that. She's better off this way." He continued, motioning to her frozen body. "Now you have a proper meat shield, one that won't run." Tazuna thought it over and admitted he was right. "I can't think of a single thing against that," Tazuna admitted. "So what have I missed so far?" the blonde asked. "The Scarecrow one is fighting Zabuza," Tazuna began. "The kid and the snake lady are fighting against a new enemy in there." He pointed toward an ice dome. "I guess I'll go and save the Uchiha," Naruto stated after a moment of thinking. "What about your girlfriend?" Tazuna asked. "She's inside that thing too." "Who do you think I'm going to save him from?" the blonde asked. Dome Sasuke was not doing too well. He had so many needles inside of him that he looked like a pincushion. Anko was doing much better. She had very few needles inside of her, but it could have been worse. She would be doing better if it wasn't for one problem: Sasuke. Why? Because she had to keep saving him from the hail of needles. "Dodge!" she shouted, knocking him away as she too jumped away. "If the Uchiha dies, then the council will blame either me or Naruto, if not both. I can't let that happen. Woman, I demand you stop doing that. I am an Uchiha. I do not need someone saving me." "Sorry kid, but I can't have you dying," she stated. "I'm an Uchiha. I don't need saving," he shouted. "Now watch as I end this fight." He began sign weaving. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. The flames spread onto the ice mirrors. Anko would have been impressed if she hadn't seen Uchihas his age do the same thing. Soon the flames died down to reveal the damage of fire toward ice. "Nothing, good job Gaki," she laughed. "I think I see a stream of water dripping." "Please surrender," Haku pleaded. "There is no need for your deaths." "Ha! You see," shouted Sasuke. "My flame must have done more damage. Now the enemy is weak. Why else would the enemy ask for it to end?" "Yeah, whatever kid," stated Anko. She knew that the enemy was just being merciful. Haku prepared to give off another volley. Anko prepared to tackle the Uchiha to safety. Sasuke prepared for something else. He stepped onto the tail of Anko's jacket. He began to channel chakra like Kakashi had taught him. Soon he had stuck himself and Anko to the ground. This will teach her. As the attack came, Anko prepared to jump. However, she was being held by something. Looking back, she saw the Uchiha's arrogant smirk. The attack came and Anko took the full brunt of it. The needles were in every part of her. Sasuke had used her as a shield. She took another look towards Sasuke. "Traitor," she gasped. "You should feel honored." He smirked. "You get to say that you were of use to an Uchiha, the greatest honor. If there isn't any consolation to this," she spoke with a smirk of her own, "it is that you will die along beside me." "I'm an Uchiha," he stated. "This ice ninja won't be able to kill me." "I'm not talking about the ice ninja," she pointed before closing her eyes. Sasuke turned to see what she meant. Entering the ice mirrors was Naruto himself. He had seen the whole thing. Anko-chan. He cried, running to her side. Wake up, Habiheim. Please wake up. All he got was a lifeless limp. He held her as he cried over her. Please give her back to me. Don't take one of my heims. Make them hurt, spoke a familiar fox. They dared to hurt your mate, your heim, hurt them both. Yes, they dared to harm her. Use it, the fox continued, use what I taught you. Use the fear you collected and make them. No, fear. Naruto looked Haku in the eyes. He needed eye contact for this. He didn't need to see hers, just for her to see his. Shin no Ippo Stage 1 success, the technique worked. The technique froze her in place. It was temporary, she would break it, but it was enough. Naruto drew his sword. He held it toward his face and looked into his reflected eyes. Using his fox glare, he began. Shin no Ippo Stage 3. He was fear, and fear feared nothing. Over his head chakra began to form an image of a smiling fox. His henge had dropped. He no longer cared for it. He felt the fear he collected. He let it out as it consumed him in a red aura. It sent him past the peak of his abilities. His power only continued to grow. He would make them suffer. Standing to full height, he stared at the frozen faces before him. His blue eyes were now crimson red. He had a coat of red chakra that seemed to flow around him like a second skin. It was wild and uncontrolled. He looked and saw that they were afraid. It wasn't enough. He wanted them terrified. He wanted them in true despair. You dare touch my heim, spoke Naruto as his rage and bloodlust grew. You dare hurt my heim. Out of the way, Dobi, spoke Sasuke. This is my. Sasuke never finished. Naruto didn't even turn as he kicked him into the mirror behind them, but it didn't stop there. The force of the impact shattered the mirrors. Sasuke sailed straight through it. He landed in a broken heap next to Tazuna and in frozen Sakura. Haku was terrified. This wasn't the same boy she had met in the woods. It was as if he had taken in everything that scared her. Haku saw that he was ready to act. Using her mirrors, she summoned her reflections to appear in each one. As they each pulled their hand back to throw the needles, another hand stopped them, each of them. It was Naruto. He was inside the mirrors behind her, each of them. He easily held her hand as she struggled against him. He grabbed her by the throat with his free hand. She struggled as he forced her to look forward. She was looking at her reflections as they were being restrained as well. How did he get inside? He let go of her throat now that she was looking. He drew his sword and leveled it to her neck. In a flash he had slashed her throat. She felt the blade give her the fatal blow. She watched as her reflections bled out, waiting for the cut to end her. But it never came, and she opened her eyes. She could see him standing there in the middle of the dome as if he had never moved. That's right. It's only genjutsu. He can't hurt me. She would stay in her mirrors. She was safe in there, right? It's only genjutsu. Wrong. He spoke as if reading her thoughts. Just because you're covered in ice doesn't mean you can't be touched. He spread his jacket out and she could see the crimson interior. That wasn't what he wanted her to see. From several points in the jacket, hooked chains shot out. They flew straight into the mirror, digging into her flesh. She had never felt such pain as more continued to pierce into her. They pulled, forcing her out of the mirror. Each step more painful than the last. They stopped pulling as soon as she was in front of Naruto. She looked him in the eyes and saw something she wished she hadn't. This wasn't the same boy she had met in the woods a few days ago. This was someone who truly wanted to see her suffer. I'm going to tear your mind apart, he whispered. And he was going to make it happen. The chains released her as an invisible force pushed her back. She continued straight through the mirrors just as the Uchiha did. Haku, however, landed between the two battling Junin. The shock of what happened stopped them mid-battle. They looked toward the one who had caused the interruption. Zabuza couldn't believe it. Haku was down in a bloody heap. The shock was so great that he stopped giving chakra to the mist. This revealed Naruto. The reddish blonde was making his way toward Haku. Zabuza dashed toward Naruto. He wasn't going to let the kid kill Haku on his watch. Raising his massive sword, he brought it down with as much force as he could muster. As a Junin and master of his sword, that was a lot. Naruto simply raised his hand and caught the blade. He held it in between his thumb and fingers. Everyone was in shock. Zabuza tried adding more pressure, but it was futile. Naruto held the blade in a simple but powerful grip. The blade didn't budge an inch. "You're in my way," Naruto said. "Move." Naruto raised his free, clawed hand. With careful aim he jabbed at Zabuza, impaling his hand into the older ninja. With strength only a ninja could muster, he raised Zabuza into the air. Without looking around he tossed the Junin to the side. He didn't need to look. Zabuza landed in a bush of spikes. Each spike impaling him, going straight through to the other side. Even though they stuck through, none of them were fatal. "It's like the brat is keeping me alive for some reason." Naruto made his way toward Haku. The fear has been nice, he thought, now it's time for some despair. Haku looked up and saw a shadowy figure coming toward her. It was Zabuza. He stood over her and raised his sword. "Zabuza-sama?" she asked. What are you doing?" "You are a broken tool, Haku," he stated coldly. "I no longer have any use for you." Haku couldn't believe what she was hearing. The one who gave her any purpose in life was tossing her aside. He was going to kill her. "No, Zabuza-sama," she begged, "not him." It was just like all those years ago, just like with her father. Zabuza brought his sword down. Haku acted on all of her battle instinct. Using her bloodline, she commanded the water on the bridge. Using her control, she raised ice spears. They impaled Zabuza through different spots, each one a fatal wound. Haku looked in shock at what she had done. "Why, you are really were a defective tool," he gasped. He fell limp and dead. "No," she whispered. No, she cried. "Zabuza-sama, wake up," she begged. She melted the ice and ran to his body. As she fell on top of it, begging him to live, she heard it. Laughter. She turned to the side and saw the source. "Naruto. He's not dead," he stated, "but it must be nice to know you would have killed him." Haku stared in disbelief. Naruto pointed toward the dead Zabuza. Right before her eyes, he faded away. He then pointed to the real Zabuza, stuck and restrained by spikes. Naruto raised his sword to finish her. "Well, what do we have here?" spoke a new voice, stopping Naruto. It seems the demon of the mist was all talk. "Gato, what are you doing here?" Zabuza asked. "Well, Zabuza," Gato started, "it has come to my attention that you are too expensive, so I decided to end our agreement." He looked on the bridge. "Kill the men. The women on her knees is yours to play with." Naruto, who had been ready to kill Haku, was enraged. Discover more bookshelves, books, fandom apparel, author interviews, writing software tools, movie streaming services, TV show guides, fiction writing guides. She can wait. He thought Anko would want me to end filth like him first. Naruto grabbed his sword and took a new stance. It was the one that Kyuubi had taught him. He never used it because it was brutal. Now he would use it without restraint. He eyed each of the bandits. They were all so full of confidence. The arrogance wasn't what he wanted. "Time for more fear. Remember, Kit, you get the blood," the fox reminded, "but I get the glory." His body seemed to convulse as he began to mutate. Fur began to cover half of his face, which became more fox-like. His free hand became claw-like. From his backside 9 glorious tails sprang free. "I suggest you all come and die quickly," Naruto called. "Do it while you still have the chance." These bandits were terrified. Fear makes people do crazy things. The bandits did the craziest thing. They charged Naruto head on. Naruto charged them as well. Naruto impaled the first victim with his sword. Lifting the body with his sword, he gave a mighty toss. The body crashed, knocking a few over. Naruto ducked under a blade. Standing, he cut the enemy's throat with one swing. One tried to run. Naruto ran after him. Grabbing him by the back of the head, he forced the bandit's mouth open. Reaching his hand in, he began to tug and pull. With little effort he ripped the top half of the bandit's head off. More tried to run. Naruto charged after them. With a powerful leap he landed one of the bandit's shoulders. A second later he jumped again. However, the bandit was missing his head. "Man, I sure know how to get ahead in life," Naruto joked. Two of the closest decided to attack from behind. Their blades made it through and pierced Naruto in the back. He ripped them out. Letting loose his tail, he impaled many that were foolish enough to be behind him. There were several on each one of his tails at a time. He held the bodies high for them to see. Many tried stabbing and beating him. He would either disappear like a mirage or dodge them. He would then slaughter the attacker before moving to the next. "Why, you're a monster," one bandit shouted, "a demon. Look at him," another cried, "he's a tailed beast." "Go ahead. Count my tails," shouted Naruto. "I want the world to know the number." "Nanin, 9 tails," one shouted. "K Kyuubi. Let the world know," shouted Naruto, "that Kyuubi is going to make a comeback." "And no, Kyuubi is dead," Gato shouted. "A ninja killed him." "Wrong," stated Naruto. "Kyuubi is fear and fear is forever." He looked toward Gato. "You however aren't." Naruto turned his gaze toward the bandits. He had gained enough fear for now. It's time to end this. Soulbane the jutsu took immediate effect. The bandits were turning on each other. They couldn't tell who was friend or foe. Naruto could have let them go on. Let them kill each other until there were none left. Where would the fun be in that? He jumped into the slaughter. Neither Team 7 or Tazuna, nor Haku or even Zabuza could believe what they were seeing. This was a slaughter. "Haku, what did you do to that kid?" asked Zabuza. I didn't do anything," she stated in equal shock. "It was the Uchiha. He used that woman as a meat shield." "Is she dead?" asked Zabuza. "No, she's just asleep," explained Haku. "Wake her up," ordered Zabuza. "Wake her up now." Haku was already moving toward the body. She began to remove the needles from Anko. Unfortunately, Naruto saw her. "Even in death you won't give her peace," he shouted. Naruto made his way toward Haku. Each step was deliberate, each drawing more fear in. Haku had removed the last of the needles. She was now shaking Anko. "Wake up already," Haku shouted as Naruto stood above her. He raised his sword. 5 more minutes," Anko mumbled. Habeheim?" he asked in shock. Anko's eyes snapped open. She looked around as memories began to flood into her head. She looked to the one who had called her. "Naru-chan?" she asked as she took in his appearance. He quickly dropped all genjutsu and allowed his true form to appear. As he looked into her eyes he saw many things, but not fear. "She's not afraid," he thought in confusion. It soon turned into happiness. "She's not afraid." "Monster," came a shout from Gato. "You're a demon." All eyes turned to the forgotten tyrant. He stood in front of a pile of bodies. Only a few were still breathing. Naruto would spare them. They could tell what happened. That would bring in tones of fear for him. The demon of the mist stood. Even though his wound was lethal, he had enough energy to raise his sword. He pointed it toward Gato. "Gato," called Zabuza, "before I die, I'm killing you." With a mighty heave he sent the blade flying. Gato only smirked. Taking a step to the side, he awaited for the blade to pass him. He noticed Naruto's smile. The blonde mouthed one word. "Invert, invert." He asked, "What is he talking about?" He never received an answer. The blade that was supposed to pass him did. It passed right through him. Now it was lodged inside his midsection. He fell to his knees. He had never felt any pain as excruciating. He had never felt fear so potent. As he looked up, he met eyes with Naruto Fox glare. He was in a small dungeon. "Where am I?" he asked to no one. "You are in my realm," Naruto said, appearing from thin air. "In here I control space, time and reality." "Why am I here?" "Before you die, Gato, you're going to give me some information," stated Naruto, "and then you can die." "You won't get squat from me, monster," Gato stated defiantly. Oh, I'll get squat, Gato, he assured, I'll get squat. Burn in hell, Gato shouted, such a limited imagination. Naruto skied, down these dark decades of your pain I'll make that sword in you feel like a memory of pleasure. Gato knew he was trapped. He did the one thing a worm like him could do. He began to cry and beg. Don't cry, Gato, Naruto sighed, it's a waste of good suffering. What are you going to do to me? He asked. I'm going to make you feel everything done to every single person in Wave. Naruto stated coldly. Every last man, women and child. He smiled coldly toward the tyrant. I will repeat it over and over again because hell is repetition. Gato had long since been broken. Naruto just wanted him to suffer for his crimes. He repeated the torture over and over again. When Naruto was finished, Gato embraced his death. Said blonde just blinked. Inside hide the fox glare. Years had passed. In reality only a second passed. Kid, Haku, Zabuza called. Come here a second. Naruto knew Zabuza was dying but was cautious. Even near death he was dangerous. He just tossed that sword half a bridge away. Yes, they asked. I'm dying, he stated calmly. He accepted his death. No, Zabuza-sama, Haku protested. We can get you help. From where? The man asked. I accept my fate. I just have a single request for the both of you. Whatever it is, Zabuza-sama. I want you to take my sword. He ushered to Naruto and Haku. Wait, you want me to do what? Naruto asked. I don't care what you do with the sword. He stated. Sell it, give it away or even gamble it away. Zabuza-sama, you can't. I can and did. He stated. I want you to go with this boy. As you wish, she stated. I can save you, Zabuza. Naruto stated. You can continue to live. What's the catch? 3 things. He stated. The first, I want you two to come with me to Konoha and become ninjas. The second, I want you to free Haku. She should make her own choices. And the third? Asked Zabuza. I want that rabbit, Naruto shouted. I need that rabbit stew. Deal. Naruto drew his blade and cut himself across the arm. It was deep enough so that the blood flowed freely but not lethal to him. He held his arm and allowed it to fall into Zabuza's mouth. The battle was over. Naruto had saved Zabuza, Haku and his Haim. They would be coming back with them to join Konoha. Now Naruto just wanted to be with his hubby Haim, to enjoy the fact that she was alive. Naruto, Anko asked in his arms, what are you thinking about? There was however one problem. I killed them. He stated. I just killed every last one of those bandits. The guilt of their first kill, Naruto. She spoke. I know exactly how you feel. Everyone has it after their first kill. Although so few ninja have ever killed on such a large scale. Do they enjoy it? He asked tonelessly. Anko had no answer. The only one she could think of was her sensei. There has to be an explanation. I know for a fact that Naruto isn't a monster. Naruto, I heard that you used technique after I was knocked, she stated. It was a genjutsu that I learned from. He hesitated. He never told them. From the Kyuubi. He felt her tense in his arms. He could feel a bit of nervousness creep deep into her. He did not enjoy it. What does it do? She asked. It has 3 stages. He explained. The first traps them in a paralysis of fear. The second is more potent. It freezes the victim's lungs. And the third? She asked. When used on a user, it increases them to their maximum potential. He stated. It allows me to use kitsune illusions and other genjutsu without restraints. That's it? She asked, losing hope. It helps in my merge with Kyuubi. He trailed off. That was the answer. He wasn't a monster. Naruto, that jutsu practically turns you into a new Kyuubi. She stated. I don't want you to use unless necessary. Okay, he agreed. He would have agreed to anything at that moment. A thought occurred. Did someone ever freeze Sakura from that genjutsu? Who cares? She asked. Bridge, citizens of Wave, shouted Tazuna. The bridge is complete. Cheers flowed from every citizen. They were directed to the one standing by Tazuna. What will you name it? Asked one citizen. How about we name it after the true hero? He asked. How about the Great Naruto Bridge? Sasuke, who had stepped forward, expecting the glory, stood in disbelief. They want to name it after the Dobi, over Me, and Uchiha? Hey, you shouldn't name it after that baka, shouted Sakura. You should name it after Sasuke-kun, he's much better. I will not name the Bridge of Our Hope after that traitor, spat Tazuna. He heard what happened. Your Uchiha isn't nearly as great as Naruto-chan, chided Anko. This got shouts of protest from Sakura. Tazuna, spoke Kakashi from his book. It would seem that you're playing favorites, that wouldn't be fair. That is the pot calling the kettle black. Everyone, though, it would be better to name it something else. Who likes the name I gave? Asked Tazuna to the citizens. His answer was an ocean of cheers from the citizens. The name stays, he stated to Kakashi. Let's go. They made their way back to the village hidden in the leaves. Home Hokage office. Hiruzen wasn't one to be shocked. When you've lived as a ninja as long as him, you learn to cope. He was called the God of Shinobi, the Professor, the strongest leaf shinobi. He has served in the Great Wars and led them victory. He has trained the Sannin, each cage-level shinobi. That means nothing with Naruto. It was his first C-ranked mission. He was supposed to protect a bridge builder from bandits. He somehow ended up overthrowing a tyrant. Becoming a symbol of hope. Getting a bridge named after him. Bringing home an A-ranked rogue and a mystery ninja. It's my fault for expecting something normal in my profession, he thought, or just when Naruto is involved. Hokage-sama, I believe Naruto should be punished for his. I demand the Dobi give me his. Such a baka. Oh Sasuke-kun. After getting several different types of mission briefs, the Hokage felt a headache growing. It all seemed to be centered around Naruto, that much he could tell. Hokage-sama, I believe I know a solution, stated Anko over the racket. Upon arrival of Wave, Naruto performed a genjutsu that allowed me to see what happened. I believe it would be well suited for now. I want all but Naruto to leave, ordered the Hokage. I deserve to know what the Dobi is going to hear, stated the Uchiha. Anko, on it Hokage-sama, she stated, striking shadow snakes. Grabbing the arrogant child, she dragged him out. Once they were alone, the Hokage began pulling out his sake. He had a feeling that he would need it. Okay, show me this jutsu, he ordered. Flashback jutsu. Now he had answer and an even bigger headache. Naruto showed almost everything from leaving the village to the bridge. What he left out was that he owned every dime Gato stole. He was trained by Kyuubi and that he feeds on fear. Let me get this straight, spoke the Hokage. You went on a mission obviously outside your rank. Way outside, stated Naruto. You blackmailed your sensei? He's a hypocrite. You fought a missing A-rank ninja? I held him off, yeah. You sent courage through a bunch of hopeless bridge builders? We needed the mission to be completed. You then killed near 200 bandits? That one had him a little worried. I can't take all the credit for that one, Naruto stated. I made most of the bandits kill each other. You also say that your new appearance is because of you drawing on so much of the fox's chakra? Yep. You know I don't believe that last part, but I won't press on the matter, he stated, knowing the headache wasn't worth it. You will have to wear a henge so you don't cause an uproar. I know, he sighed. It would have been too easy just to have the disguise break like that. I'll do my best to keep the council off your back, he stated, but it won't be too long. Thanks, old man. You then turned said missing ninjas into your friends? They're more of an ally right now. The Hokage and the hidden Anbu stared at the blonde. And now you want them to be shinobi of the hidden leaf? Yes. The wizened leader stared at his surrogate grandchild. It seemed the kid was a crazy magnet. Why couldn't he have had a normal mission? Were the thoughts of the village leader and several hidden Anbu. Fine, Zabuza will need a few months under Anbu watch, but Haku can start immediately. Can I have another mission? Get out, he ordered. Ichiraku ramen stand. Hey Ayame ne-chan. Naruto greeted. Old man, I need some ramen. Coming right up, Naruto. He called, hey Dobi. He heard an all too familiar voice call. I demand you give me that sword. For the last time, Teme. He stated, I'm not giving you my sword. He turned, why do you want it anyway? You don't even practice kenjutsu. I know that it was how you did those things in Wave, he stated. Yeah, baka, shouted Sakura, if it wasn't for that sword you would be nothing, even with that training you're getting. You think that I get it from my sword? He laughed. Teme, howler monkey. He called, I get my skill from hard work. And having a fear-born demon living inside me. But thank you, you reminded me to visit my girlfriend and give her the gift. Order up, Tucci called, right after ramen. Naruto happily ate his ramen. He had hoped if he ignored the two of them then they would leave. No such luck. Baka, you give Sasuke-kun what he wants now, ordered Sakura. Why don't you two just sit down, shut up and eat some ramen? Naruto shouted. It might make you two less irritating. Ramen can only do so much. I don't want any of that piss-flavored noodle, stated the Uchiha as another bowl was placed by Naruto. You shouldn't insult the ramen, Teme, stated Naruto coldly, it could get upset and upset ramen is bad for you. Who cares how the ramen feels, he should have taken the advice. Before Sasuke could finish his insult, the ramen attacked. The noodles stretched around the Uchiha and began constricting him. The bowl swung toward him and covered his face as the broth began drowning him. Sasuke-kun, Sakura cried, Naruto, you called of that filthy. The bull jumped to her. Well, time to go. I wonder how my himes are doing. Using his sensor abilities, it was a breeze to find them. Better get them something. Yamanaka flower shop. Welcome to Yamabaka. What are you doing here? Asked Ino. I just want to buy some flowers and I'll be on my way, he stated. Do you know how much trouble you put me in with Daddy? She asked, ignoring his statement, and continued ranting. It's like a blonde Sakura. I kind of don't care, just give me my flowers. A lot, she shouted. It's all yo. Hey Ino. He cut her off. This is what got you in trouble last time. He stated, do you want me to tell your father how you treat customers? He began raising his blindfold, or I could punish you myself. That won't be necessary, Uzumaki-san, called Inoichi. I don't know what you're about to do, but please don't. Flowers please, Yamanaka-san, Naruto said to Inoichi, and I'll go away. What kind? The clan head asked. Do you have a one-of-a-kind somewhere around here? Of course we do, Baka, Ino shouted. We have, Ino. Inoichi shouted in disapproval. Right this way, sir. He turned to his customer. We have a small array of foreign flowers. Because of the customer service you received. He sent a disapproving look toward his daughter. You will be getting a large discount from my daughter pay. But Daddy, the look in his eyes told him to be silent. After Naruto paid, he left. Not this time, Naruto, all revenge. Kurenai. He found Kurenai inside of a food stand. She was with Asuma, who was smoking, much to her annoyance. Well, he already knows we're dating and the others won't care. Still, I had better not draw too much attention. Hey Kurenai-chan. He greeted. Hello Naruto-kun. She greeted back. You remember my friend Asuma? She asked, hoping Asuma caught the message. Hello Asuma-san. Naruto greeted. How is your food? I hate you, Asuma stated, gaining a glare from Kurenai and a chuckle from Naruto. And when I leave you will love me, the blonde stated, then you will hate me again. I hear you had your first C-ranked mission, Naruto-kun. Kurenai asked, how was it? I have some gifts for you, he stated, reaching into his pockets. I hate this henge, it's easier to just steal stuff. I got my C-ranked mission pay, so I brought you all something. Finally finding what he was looking for, he handed her two things. The first, a bouquet of desert roses, and the second, an all-expense-paid trip to the Leaf Lotus. She shouted, Naruto, how did you get this? The Leaf Lotus was the most expensive salon. They did everything from massages to nails and hair. Everyone who went there felt as if they bloomed twice. This would cost more than a C-rank mission. I collected a few bounties, he stated. It actually came from Gato, but let's just keep that a secret for now. Naruto. She smiled. You really know how to treat a lady. She sent a glare to Asuma, who looked away. I need to find the others, bye. With a quick kiss he was off to his next time. Kurenai, be quiet Asuma, she ordered, just eat your steak. Steak? He was eating dumplings. Looking down toward his plate he saw a perfect T-bone. I think I love that kid. He took the first bite. It was cooked just the way he liked it, perfection. He could taste the flavor and feel all of the maggots in his mouth. Wait a second. A second later he was emptying his stomach all over the floor. I think I hate that kid. Want me to kiss it better? Kurenai asked. Sure. Then clean your mouth. Click click, perfect Hana. Hello pup. Sume greeted. Hana is in the back. Thanks Sume-chan. Heading around back, Naruto saw her training with the triplets. Hello Naruto-kun. She greeted. Hello Inuheim. He pulled out a scroll. I have some things for you. I hope there's something nice. Hana stated. She knew it would be. They're coming from Naruto-kun after all. When she unsealed it, what she saw surprised her. Inside were the gauntlets from both of the demon brothers. They were in perfect condition. Naruto, these are amazing. She stated. Where did you get them? Dumb question, she thought, kicking herself. I had a crazy C-ranked mission. He stated. It's the same for the second gift. He handed it to her. An all-expense-paid trip to the Leaf Lotus. I'd love to hear all about it. She stated. How about you stay the night and tell me all about it? She used her most seductive voice. Then we can. No, came several shouts from the distance. The Inuzuka family was starting to appear and surround them. They were giving hateful looks to the blonde host. The one glaring the hardest was Kiba, Hana's younger brother and Naruto's old foe. He stepped forward and spoke. All member of the Inuzuka, I ask you, he shouted. Do you enjoy your sleep? Do you enjoy your peace? Yes. They answered as one. Then we must keep that Dobi from sleeping with my sister, Kiba shouted, or we'll never get any sleep. Attack. Someone shouted, run pup. Run. Sume shouted. I need you alive to give me my grand pups. She really wanted those grand pups. Shunshin, darn it. Kiba shouted, after him, you go. Naruto simply walked by a tree and stood by the bench by it. It was a nice day, but he had to move. Setting down a scroll, he continued on his way. He didn't look back as a hand stretched from concealment and grabbed the scroll. He didn't look back when he heard the gasp of surprise. Looks like someone likes the sword I got her. Thank you, dead bandit with good taste. During his rage he had found a beautiful sword but knew that he would never wield it. He didn't look back when he heard the feminine squeal. It looks like someone loves her spa trip. Click Anko. And that is how a kunoichi seduces a man, stated Anko. Anko. I just asked you how you were and where you've been, stated an annoyed Iruka. Now you've traumatized my female students long before they need to be. He looked to the class. And you knocked the male out through nosebleeds. They'll probably be perverts now. Oh, I'm fine, she stated, and I was on a mission with Team 7 inches. She leaned over the desk, revealing a lot of cleavage to Iruka. How are you, Iruka-kun? Her voice had taken a very seductive tone. I'm fine, he stated, flustered. So you went on a mission with Team 7? Hey, that's our boss's team, stated Konohamaru. Boss? Anko asked. If you say the Uchiha or Haruno, then I will. No way. They shouted as one. Our boss is Naruto Uzumaki. Naru-chan, huh? She asked with a smile. Has he taught you anything? It was a simple question. To the core, it was a horrid one. The trio fell into a huddle. They were shivering not from the cold but from an untold fear. It seemed as if they were trying to push it to the back of their mind. It wasn't working. First rule of Naruto training. Udon shouted, do not talk about Naruto training. Moegi, what's wrong with them? Asked Iruka. Moegi was the only one not panicking as much. She was shivering in fear, just not as much. Naruto, she stated as if it were obvious. Ah, Kudanko. My Naru-chan has them terrified. She was so proud. Knock knock, Iruka-sensei, called Hanabi. There is a man with a large chakra supply at the door. It's him, Udon shouted in fear, he's come for us. He knew we were talking about his training, shouted Konohamaru, now he'll. He stopped at all the horrid thoughts. Oh, don't stop on my account. A disembodied voice spoke, by all means, give me some ideas. Out the window. Moegi shouted. They jumped out. It didn't matter that they weren't on the first floor. It was better than Naruto catching them. Iruka-sensei. Hanabi called, he's not at the door anymore. Then where is he? Anko asked. Ah, the K-corpse shouted. With them, she answered stoically. Class, stay here. They cried out in protest. Anko, if you would. Summoning jutsu at her command, a large coral snake appeared. It was large enough to gobble up any of the kids in a single gulp but small enough to stay in the room. I want you to make sure these kids stay in order, Anko ordered. If any of them so much as twitches outside of their seat or opens their mouth. She stared at the kids, eat them. Anko. Iruka shouted. That's a bit extreme. Fine, fine. She sighed. Punish them as you see fit, she told the snake. Grabbing Iruka before he could protest, she jumped outside the window. The snake was alone with the terrified kids. It eyed them hungrily. Does anyone want to move? The snake asked. I might let a few of you go. The kids didn't so much as shake their heads, but they wanted to. The snake could wait, they were kids after all. They weren't costumed to sitting still for too long. Fields. When the two ninjas arrived, they saw a sight to behold. It nearly gave Iruka a heart attack from sheer worry and annoyance. Anko was laughing as if she was seeing the funniest thing possible. Udon and Konohamaru were tied upside down by their feet. They trying not to move and put unwanted strain on the ropes. Under them were a pile of explosive notes. Moegi was just watching a distance away. And that's how my first C-ranked mission went, Naruto finished. Cool, Konohamaru stated, causing the rope to shudder. Naruto, what are you doing? Iruka asked in a panic. I'm telling them about my mission, Naruto stated. Why are they upside down over a bunch of explosives? Iruka asked. I'm just training them, he stated, by putting the fear of Kami in them. Why isn't Moegi getting the same treatment? Anko asked. You're not being soft because she's a girl, are you? There was a warning in her tone. No, he sighed. Every time I try something like this, she just uses those eyes. He spat in hate. I honestly believe you women are taught that at birth. What eyes? This had Anko and Iruka curious. Naruto drew a kunai and made his way toward Moegi. Puppy eyes jutsu. See, he pointed accusingly. Naruto, that is the dumb. You left one of Anko's summons with the kids for more than 5 minutes. Naruto stated. How many do you think are left? Iruka was already running back to save as many of his remaining students as possible. If there was any left to save. He's such a worrywart, Anko stated. So what are you doing here, Naru-chan? Anko asked. I came to give you this, what he had given his other Heims. Anko squealed in delight. She looked for Naruto but saw nothing. All that was left were a few flower petals in his place. She was impressed. Can't wait to tell the girls about the mission. Wait, someone cut us down, shouted Udon. I have a better idea. Anko laughed. How about I help in your training? What? They didn't like her smile, it was too much like Naruto's. While you're upside down, I want you to. She drew a kunai. Dodge.